Ethan Clark never thought his life would change overnight. He was just a quiet man who fixed broken machines for a living. In New Denver City, on the red sands of Earth's western colonies, he lived alone in a small apartment above his repair shop. He had no family left, except for his uncle, Victor Clark, a rich industrialist who had disappeared years ago. Ethan didn't like to talk about his uncle. Victor was one of those men who built secret things, who made money from mysterious projects related to space travel. Rumor said he owned ships that never appeared on any official record. Others said he worked with alien species before any treaties were signed. Ethan never believed those stories. He thought his uncle was just another greedy businessman. But everything changed the day he received that message. A courier drone dropped a silver envelope with his name glowing on its surface. To Ethan Clark, legal inheritance notice. Inside was a simple letter from a law firm called Galactic Holdings Legal Division. It stated that Victor Clark had officially passed away 3 weeks ago on an unknown planet. Ethan was the sole heir to his uncle's remaining assets. The letter asked him to report to Mars for verification. It sounded unbelievable. Ethan had never left Earth in his life. He didn't even have a passport for interplanetary travel. But curiosity won over fear. Maybe his uncle really had left him something valuable. Journey to Mars. The shuttle to Mars was automated. Ethan sat alone in the passenger cabin, staring at the reddish glow through the window. He thought about his uncle, the man who had vanished without a trace, leaving behind whispers about alien technology and forbidden deals. When the ship landed at Sector 9 Mars Colony, a small robot greeted him with a metallic voice. "Welcome, Mr. Ethan Clark. Please follow for inheritance verification." It led him to an isolated area outside the main colony dome, an old private facility surrounded by dust storms and quiet machines. The place looked deserted. At the gate, a holographic projection appeared, Victor Clark's face. The old man's eyes were tired but filled with something like pride. "If you're seeing this, Ethan, it means I am gone. You may think I was a monster or a fool, but I did what I had to, for humanity's future. Inside this facility, you will find what I have protected for decades. Be kind to them, and they will protect you in return. This is my true inheritance to you." Then the hologram vanished. The heavy doors opened with a low hiss. Inside the facility, Ethan stepped into a wide hall filled with glowing lights, silent machines, and glass tubes. The air smelled metallic. Everything looked untouched for years. In the center of the hall stood 2 stasis pods, filled with pale blue light. Inside each pod, he could see a humanoid figure, both women, sleeping peacefully. One had silver hair that shimmered like moonlight. The other had deep emerald skin that faintly glowed in the dim light. Ethan froze. "What is this?" he whispered. The robot nearby responded, "Subjects Lyra and Kaelara, active status suspended. Authorization from Victor Clark required for release. Authorization transferred to Heir Ethan Clark." Before Ethan could stop it, the pods opened with a soft hiss. Cold air spilled out. The first woman, Lyra, stepped forward. Her eyes were a bright shade of gold, and her voice was calm but commanding. "You must be Ethan Clark," she said softly. "You have your uncle's eyes." The second woman, Kaelara, followed, her movements graceful but alert. Her skin shimmered under the artificial lights, and her tone carried a strange melody. "So the heir has come at last," she said. "Your uncle told us this day would come." Ethan was speechless. He took a step back. Who are you? Why were you in those pods?" Lyra looked at Kaelara, then turned back to him. "We are your companions, bonded to your family by treaty. Your uncle made a sacred agreement between our worlds and yours. According to that bond, we are now your wives." Ethan almost dropped the data tablet in his hand. "My what?" Kaelara smiled faintly. "In human terms, that is what the contract says, but do not misunderstand. It is not about marriage as your kind defines it. It is about alliance and protection." The secret behind the inheritance. Still in shock, Ethan followed them through the rest of the facility. They showed him a hidden chamber beneath the main hall. Inside it was a massive machine shaped like a sphere of floating crystal, surrounded by energy coils. This, Lyra said, placing her hand on the console, is the quantum core. Your uncle created it using knowledge from both our worlds. It can open gateways across dimensions, or destroy them. That is why he hid it here. Ethan stared at the glowing sphere. He built this? But why give it to me? I don't even understand how it works. Kelara looked at him with sad eyes. Because your uncle trusted you more than anyone else. He said humanity would need someone pure-hearted, not greedy, to guard this secret. We were sent to guide and protect that person. Ethan felt overwhelmed. He was just a mechanic. He had never asked for this, alien wives, secret cores, or galactic responsibility. Yet as he looked at them, he saw no deceit in their faces, only sincerity and quiet strength. Night on Mars. Later that night, as he sat by the large window of the facility, Ethan watched the dust storms dance outside. The red glow of Mars reflected against the glass. Lyra stood beside him silently, her golden eyes watching the horizon. Your uncle was not an easy man, she said softly. He believed in peace between humans and our kind. He risked his life for it. Ethan sighed. Then why did he keep it a secret from everyone? Kelara answered from behind. Because not all humans would accept peace. Some see other species only as tools. He feared they would use the quantum core for war. Ethan nodded slowly. The truth began to sink in. His uncle wasn't just rich. He had carried a burden far greater than money. And now, that burden was his. A warning in the dark as the lights dimmed. An alarm suddenly flashed on the screen. The facility's defense systems activated. A robotic voice echoed through the hall. Unauthorized ship detected entering Mars orbit. Security protocol initiated. Lyra and Kelara rushed to the control room. Ethan followed. The screen showed a dark ship descending through the atmosphere. Unmarked, silent, and fast. Kelara's expression hardened. That ship bears the energy signature of the conglomerate. They must have tracked your uncle's encryption codes. Who are they? Ethan asked. Lyra replied. Humans, but not like you. They seek the core. If they take it, they can control both our worlds. Ethan clenched his fists. For the first time, he felt anger rise inside him. He didn't fully understand what was happening, but he knew one thing. He couldn't let anyone take what his uncle had died to protect. Then we stopped them, he said firmly. Lyra gave him a long look, then nodded. Then stand ready, heir of Victor Clark. Your true inheritance begins tonight. Outside, the red dust swirled as the shadow of a descending ship darkened the sky. The night on Mars turned red and loud. The sound of alarms echoed across the facility, and the wall shook slightly as something landed outside. Ethan stood between Lyra and Kelara, staring at the main screen that showed the dark shape of a ship lowering into the sandstorm. Whoever they are, Ethan said, his voice tight. They know we're here. Lyra's golden eyes narrowed. They are not here to talk. Kelara walked to the control console and touched it. A series of lights flashed as security drones came online. Your uncle left defense systems, but they are old. We must act quickly. Ethan nodded and followed their lead. He didn't know how to fight, but he could repair and activate machines. That was something he understood, the attack on the facility. The first explosion hit the outer wall. The entire dome trembled. Dust and smoke filled the corridor as small combat drones flew in through the broken glass. Their red sensors glowed as they fired plasma bolts. Ethan ducked behind a metal crate. Lyra moved like lightning. A bright wave of energy pulsed from her hands, forming a golden shield that absorbed the shots. Kelara's eyes turned bright green as she waved her arm. The ground beneath the drones cracked open, pulling them down. Ethan stared in shock. What? How did you do that? Lyra replied without looking back. Bioenergy control. Your uncle helped us master it. Now move. They rushed through the hall. Ethan used his tablet to override the blast doors and shut off the eastern corridor. More explosions followed. Whoever was attacking was well prepared. Why are they after us? Ethan shouted. Kelara answered, her tone steady even in chaos. Because your uncle protected something that could change the balance of the galaxy, the quantum core, and now you are the only one who can open it. Escaped to the launch bay, they reached the underground launch bay. The air smelled of metal and dust. A small shuttle stood ready on the platform, old but functional. Ethan ran diagnostics while Lyra sealed the doors. "We'll go to orbit," Kalara said. Victor left another station above Mars. It may hold his last message. Before they could board, the communication screen came alive. A man appeared, human, but dressed in the black armor of the unified conglomerate. His face was sharp and cold. "Ethan Clark," the man said. "You have something that belongs to humanity. Hand over the alien specimens and the quantum core. You will not be harmed." Ethan's jaw tightened. "They're not specimens, and the core doesn't belong to anyone who wants to use it for war." The man smiled thinly. "Then you'll die with it." The transmission cut off. A second explosion tore through the ceiling. Lyra shouted, "Now! To the ship!" They jumped aboard as the bay doors opened. The shuttle's engines roared. Flames filled the hangar as it blasted off through the thin Martian air, leaving the ruined facility behind. The chase through space. As the shuttle climbed into orbit, Ethan looked down at Mars, shrinking below. His heart pounded. He had never been in space before. Now he was flying with two aliens while being hunted by soldiers from Earth. "Is this what my uncle was running from?" he muttered. Lyra answered quietly. "Yes, he made peace between our species. But peace always threatens those who profit from conflict." Kalara scanned the radar. "Two ships are following us. Fast interceptors. We can't outrun them in this shuttle." Ethan's mind raced. "We can't fight them either. This ship isn't built for combat." Lyra turned to him. "Then we use what you are good at, machines." He blinked. "What do you mean?" "You can repair, modify, and improvise. That is a gift your uncle respected. If you can redirect the power flow from the auxiliary core, I can strengthen our shield. Kalara can use her energy to confuse their sensors." Ethan took a deep breath. "Let's do it." A mechanics battle. Ethan ran to the engineering bay. Sparks flew as the ship shook under enemy fire. He opened the main power conduit, rerouting the energy manually. Lyra shouted from the cockpit, "Hold it steady, Ethan." He worked fast, connecting wires and resetting panels. The ship's engines flared brighter. Kalara closed her eyes, sending waves of green energy into the sensor array. "The pursuing ships began to lose lock. We're breaking free," she said. Ethan smiled with relief, until another warning flashed red. "Engine overload. Lyra." "The core is overheating." Lyra gritted her teeth. "We need to eject the backup reactor before it explodes." Ethan didn't think twice. He pulled the manual lever beside the hatch and detached the reactor unit. It exploded behind them like a small sun, blinding their pursuers. The shockwave sent their shuttle spinning, but Lyra steadied it. For a moment, the stars around them were silent again. Victor's secret station. Hours later, they reached the dark shadow of a massive structure orbiting Mars. It was Victor Clark's private station, marked with his old insignia, a silver C wrapped around a gear. As they docked, the airlock opened with a soft hiss. The inside was dim, quiet, and covered with dust. Ethan felt a strange sense of calm. "This place feels familiar," he whispered. Lyra smiled faintly. "You carry his spirit." They walked through empty halls until they reached a control chamber. There, a flickering hologram activated. Victor Clark again. "Ethan," the voice said, "if you've come this far, you already know the danger. The conglomerate will never stop. They want control over the core to dominate every world, but you must not destroy it. It was built to unite, not to rule. Lyra and Kalara are the keys. They represent two ancient civilizations, Seraphis and Nualan, who once fought for centuries. The core was their peace. It binds them together. You must continue that bond." The hologram flickered out. Ethan stood silent for a moment. Then he turned to Lyra and Kalara. He didn't just want to protect the core. He wanted to protect peace itself. Kalara nodded. "Yes, but now you are that peace. You are the bridge between our worlds." The choice before they could rest, the radar blared again. The conglomerate's fleet had found them. Several ships appeared outside the window, their lights glowing menacingly in the darkness. Kalara spoke urgently. "If they reach the station, they'll take the core by force." Lyra placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "There is only one choice, Ethan. Destroy the core before they do." He shook his head. "No, my uncle said it can unite us. There has to be another way. Lyra frowned. If they get it, they will use it to enslave our worlds. Sometimes peace requires sacrifice. Ethan stared at the glowing sphere in the center of the control room, the quantum core. It pulsed gently, as if alive. His uncle's voice echoed in his mind. It was built to unite, not to rule. He clenched his fists. I won't destroy it, not yet. There must be a way to protect it without giving up what it stands for. Kalara looked at him with quiet admiration. You truly are his heir. The threat from Earth. Suddenly, the station's main screen flickered on. The same conglomerate officer appeared again, this time standing aboard a massive dreadnought. Ethan Clark, he said, you have 1 hour. Surrender the core and the alien consorts, or we will bombard Mars colonies and end thousands of lives. Lyra gasped. They would attack their own people? Ethan's face hardened. They don't see them as people, only tools. He turned to Lyra and Kalara. If we run, they'll destroy everything. If we fight, maybe we have a chance. Lyra tilted her head. Then we fight, Kalara smiled faintly. Together, Ethan took a deep breath. Then we need allies. You said your worlds, Ganos, Seraphis, and Nualon, owe my uncle their peace. Can they help us? Kalara nodded. They can, but they must see your courage first. They must believe humanity deserves their trust. Ethan stood tall, determination in his eyes. Then I'll make them believe. He looked out at the dark fleet waiting beyond the station. His heart raced, but his spirit stood firm. We fight for peace, he said. For him, for us, and for every world that still believes in something better. Ethan Clark looked out at the endless void of space. Below him, Mars glowed red, scarred by the recent attack on his uncle's facility. Above, the conglomerate fleet hung like dark predators, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Beside him, Lyra and Kalara stood calm, their alien presence a strange comfort. He had never imagined being in this position, a mechanic thrust into a role that could determine the fate of entire worlds. Lyra broke the silence. The conglomerate believes power is gained through fear. They will not negotiate. Only strength will make them listen. Ethan nodded. Then we show them strength, but not like they expect. Kalara tilted her head. Do you really think humanity can inspire allies in the galaxy? Ethan's eyes narrowed. I have to try. If we fail, everyone loses. Rallying allies, their first step was to contact Seraphis and Nualon. Lyra sent a coded signal into deep space. Within minutes, the response came. From Seraphis, a fleet of sleek silver ships appeared. From Nualon, green-lit cruisers materialized. Both fleets were massive, far stronger than the conglomerate's interceptors, but they would not intervene without seeing Ethan lead. Ethan felt his heart race. He was just a human, untrained in battle, unprepared for command. But then he looked at Lyra and Kalara. They were ready. Their trust gave him courage. We must show them we act for peace, not power, Lyra advised. Ethan nodded. Then we fight smart together. The plan. Ethan spent hours with Lyra and Kalara devising a strategy. They would draw the conglomerate ships into a narrow asteroid field near Mars. There, the Seraphis and Nualon fleets would appear at the last moment, surrounding the attackers. Kalara adjusted the quantum core's energy output to act as a shield for the station and shuttle. Lyra used her bioenergy to jam the enemy sensors, giving Ethan and the core time to stabilize the station's defenses. Ethan was amazed at how the two aliens worked in perfect harmony. He realized their abilities complemented his own human ingenuity. Humans might lack bioenergy powers, but they had creativity, adaptability, and courage, qualities no advanced technology could replace. The first strike, the conglomerate fleet moved in. Their massive dreadnought fired beams that sliced through space aimed at the station. Ethan felt the walls shake as the first blast hit. Lyra raised her hands, forming a golden energy shield that absorbed the impact. Kalara focused on disrupting the enemy targeting systems. Ethan manipulated the station's auxiliary weapons, redirecting plasma turrets to intercept incoming missiles. He shouted, "Now! Everyone hold steady." The first wave of ships faltered, unable to lock onto the station. Ethan's heart pounded. He had no idea if his plan would work, but he trusted his instincts. Humanity's courage. From the distance, Seraphis and Nualon fleets entered the asteroid field. Their ships moved in synchronized formations, blocking the escape routes of the conglomerate vessels. The attackers were trapped. Ethan felt a thrill of hope. For the first time, he saw what his uncle had meant by trust and cooperation. This was what humanity could offer: courage and strategy, combined with alliances built on respect. Lyra glanced at him. "You are not just a mechanic, Ethan Clarke. You are the bridge between worlds." Kalara nodded. "Your uncle's faith was not misplaced. Humans can inspire change even in the oldest civilizations." Ethan swallowed hard. "Then let's finish this. For everyone." The climax, the conglomerate commander realized the trap too late. His ships collided with asteroids and each other, while the Seraphis and Nualon forces attacked from both sides. Chaos erupted among the enemy fleet. Ethan piloted his uncle's old ship, the Legacy, alongside Lyra and Kalara. He maneuvered through the wreckage, using the shuttle's speed and agility to outflank the enemy flagship. Inside the ship, he accessed the core's auxiliary controls. With Lyra's shield amplifying his efforts, he sent a pulse through the flagship's systems, disabling its engines. The massive ship drifted helplessly, unable to fire or move. The conglomerate soldiers surrendered. For the first time in days, Ethan felt a deep relief. He had survived, not by might alone, but by strategy, courage, and teamwork. After the battle, the galaxy was quiet again. The conglomerate's remaining ships retreated, their leaders realizing they had underestimated a human and his alien allies. Ethan, Lyra, and Kalara floated in space, watching the wreckage. Kalara turned to Ethan. "You have done what few humans could, earned the trust of two civilizations." Lyra smiled softly. "And you did it without killing anyone unnecessarily. That is true leadership." Ethan looked at the quantum core. It pulsed gently, as if approving their victory. "We didn't just win a battle," he said. "We preserved a chance for peace." Kalara nodded. "Your uncle believed in humanity. Today you proved that belief was not wrong." A new role with the conglomerate defeated, Ethan was offered a choice. He could stay on Mars, controlling the quantum core, or travel with the alien fleets to serve as humanity's first interstellar ambassador. Ethan thought about his quiet life on Earth, the small repair shop, the dust-covered streets, the nights spent alone staring at stars. None of that mattered now. His life had a new purpose. "I'll go," he said. "I'll make sure humanity earns its place among the stars, not through fear, but through respect and courage." Lyra and Kalara smiled. They no longer stood as companions bound by contract. Now they were true allies, friends, and partners in a mission that spanned worlds. The HFY moment Ethan Clarke had started as a mechanic. He had no idea that he would become a symbol of human courage and intelligence. Standing on the observation deck of the station, he watched Seraphis and Nualon fleets move gracefully among the stars. He realized what it truly meant to be human. Not just to survive, not just to build or destroy, but to inspire, to protect, and to reach for something greater than oneself. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. Kalara stood beside him, both of them smiling. Ethan felt their strength, their wisdom, and their trust. Together they would guard peace in the galaxy. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt proud. Proud to be human, proud to be Victor Clarke's heir, proud to be the bridge between worlds. "Victor left me wealth beyond measure," Ethan whispered to the stars. "But the real inheritance was learning what it means to be human." The future awaits. As the three looked out at the vast galaxy, Ethan knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had allies, technology, and courage, but most importantly, humanity had hope. Hope that even small, ordinary people could stand against impossible odds and make a difference. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. And for the first time, Ethan felt ready to meet them head-on, with Lyra and Kalara by his side as partners, friends, and guardians of a new future for all worlds. The galaxy had learned something new that day. Humans might be young, but when they stand for courage, honor, and peace, even the oldest civilizations take notice, and Ethan Clarke, the unexpected heir of Victor Clarke, would make sure the universe never forgot it.